pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and there's a few items I would like to add to that. One is Alvin Evans with approval of an affidavit for payment, and then amendment to phase 2 of with Lockmiller Group agreement over River Road. Other than that, and then Highway has 2 additionals.
Thank you.
Then Perry Central School Bus.
Yes. Well, I thought we'd talk about that miscellaneous, or you want to talk about it?
It doesn't matter. It's got to be done sometime.
Okay, well, I'll take a motion for the agenda if you want to add that to it.
Yes, I'm going to add, discuss a school bus pickup side here at Detention Center. So, if that, I'll approve the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
With the other additions?
Yes.
Perry Central,
Where you adding
is
that?
it a PC school bus
Mhm.
pickup?
Probably right underneath Highway.
Underneath the highway?
Yeah.
Randy made motion?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Randy K.
Yeah, RK.
Randy Cleveland made the motion.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay. And motion made and second, and I also vote yea to approve the agenda with the additions. Okay, and we're putting Alvin in first. Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just go down the line and we'll end up with Tara at Perry Central.
Okay. All right, Alvin, you're up.
I have an affidavit for TIF District Number 3, which is for mitigation monitoring and finishing up some work they had to do for, well, no, actually that's next month. I received that. It's not including this, but this is monitoring and construction oversight of the mitigation work that occurred down at the monofill area. Amount is $19,162.50. It's actually three separate invoices. So that's the total amount.
Sorry, I didn't turn the speakers.
Be good? Okay.
So Alvin, is that, you said the monofill, is that down in Troy?
Yeah, down at Troy, the monofill, that's the site for the stream mitigation for the River Industrial Park. So that's
Okay, that's not down at Troy then, where they put the waste material from the foundry?
It runs along on the north, on the south side of where the waste material is stored at. There's a stream that runs down through there and up into the hillsides, and that's where the mitigation occurred for the streams that were damaged and removed at the River Industrial Park. So that's state requirement for federal requirements for the work that was accomplished and planned to be accomplished.
Okay, so it's not, okay, when I think of the monofill, I was thinking of it behind SERS back in there.
That's where it is.
And that's where it is, and that's connected still to the site next to the foundry? The
No, it's-
Riverview?
No, it's not connected, but
It's the same project?
It's the same project.
Gotcha.
You do the stream mitigation wherever you can find a stream to do it at. And those were the approved streams there. And then also there's, Kelsey owns some property before you get into that, and that stream that ran across their property is part of it too. So it's all full one length of streams.
So does the county own that property?
No,
No.
no.
It's
Wapak
all-
owns the property that were the mono there, and Kelsey owns the other parcel of the property.
And we're using TIF funds to mitigate that?
Yeah, TIF funds was used for the mitigation for the project, yes. Well, it's all tied. You can't move the dirt unless you do the mitigation. Or you couldn't fill the ditch, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's the projects that were approved by the.
Yeah, I know, those things have been
Commissioners.
several years ago, and this is just continuing, because I read through the
Yeah.
documents, and I know you're kind of started, and you can't stop without getting legal issues thrown upon you, so you're kind of between a rock and a hard spot.
Yes.
I just, how much money's been spent on that whole thing? Just round number, you don't have to be specific.
When you say on the whole thing.
The whole project down on Gerlach's Curve.
Project,
Yeah,
is,
that whole,
about $7 million.
$7 million.
Counting that, I mean, a lot of it's been federal grant. That's counting swipes of road though, too.
Right. Yeah.
So,
But all that was through grants.
yes, yeah, the majority of it's been grants.
yeah, we had to match part of it.
You know, yeah, and that's what we tried to do on all of, well, actually it's more than that. It's probably about $8 million counting the relocation of the water line too, which that was all private or except for $250,000, that's all private.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to approve it.
I don't want to, but I'll second it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what we can hardly do other than pay for it.
Yeah. Any alternatives is,
Well, we're stuck. I mean, I don't see how we can stop. I mean,
okay, motion made and second, and I also vote aye, so motion made and second carried 3-0.
You want me to do River Road?
Yeah.
Or-
It's up to you, or I can,
I can pass it off to you.
I'll be-
River Road,
I can.
River Road Phase 2, we're needing a change in an extra work agreement for the engineering that's being done for that. Teresa's got all the information.
right. You want me to go ahead and
Mhm.
follow up on that?
Mhm.
Yeah, the River Road, we have a preliminary engineering agreement with Lockmiller Group. The initial agreement with Lockmiller was $535,000, not to exceed amount. We had an 80% match on that from NDOT for federal aid, $428,000, and that still stands. The remaining amount is would be the county's responsibility, which at this point, it's all been funded through the Port Authority. We've had one amendment in the past, that was a deduct of $21,060 to the Lockmiller Group contract. And since then, this amendment number 2 is a $94,580 add, and it's due, basically related to the realignment and coordination work that's needed with Texas Gas regarding the transmission line. Alvin, if, he can probably give you more details about the specifics, but there's additional geotech, there's subsurface engineering, and additional survey that's going to be needed that makes up that $94,580 add. So the not-to-exceed amount at this point with Lockmiller Group on this number 2 amendment to the agreement would make Lockmiller's total contract not to exceed $608,520. We still have the $428,000 purchase order for reimbursement for preliminary engineering. So the difference of that makes what the county would still be responsible, which is $180,250.
Extra engineering is required for I got my Port Authority hat on now, so, is required for where phase 1 was completed at. They need to move it out to miss the hillside, so that's some realignment there, and that's where the additional surveying works primarily occurring from, is for that work to do there. And then there's some work required for potholing to locate the Texas gas line due to the probability of interfering with the hillside is from the geotech study that you don't want to interfere with the hillside, so it's moved toward the river more, and so it's got closer to it won't get into the gas line itself, but it's got on the gas lines easement, so it's so they know where it's all at. So, and that's a little more engineering work required for that. So that's primarily what the changes are for. Port Authority will be the responsible party Between Port Authority, city and county.
So then my assumption is you're gonna add fill material to the riverside to shift the road slightly so that you don't have to excavate into the hillside and cause a potential slide.
That's correct, yes.
And then, as you stated, the county will not be out any money. The match will be, the 20% will be from the Port Authority.
For this, for the engineering here, yes.
For this.
Also, on on that line though, excuse me, the agreement is that the Port Authority will be responsible for the roadway, but there's a walking path, bicycle path that's being built alongside it, and the lighting that the police officers wanted for the road. And so those were going to be shared between Tell City and the county, because it lies in both jurisdictions, and County. And so, and County was going to be responsible for the replacing the sewer line, but now they're not. They're abandoning it. And so, so that's the current agreement and what it is. But I think we've got worked out on how the counties and cities' funding will come from another source, so they won't be responsible for it because it'll be time for appropriation this year. But so we had to figure out what was going to happen. I think
So
we
what's
got
the
funding from another source for that.
So what's the timeline on this project?
It's scheduled for January 2024 letting. It's fiscal year 2024 funded, and so begins July 1, 2023. And hopefully we'll actually have the letting in October timeframe, so that people are ready to go in the spring instead of having it in the spring and be in the summer for us.
And then when you do the road, you're also doing this walkway?
Yeah, they'll all be completed at the same time. Yes.
Okay. And the funding source for the walkway is, can you share that?
Right, we think from Indiana First, Ready funds.
Okay.
That's where.
So that you will know prior to the letting that those funds are actually been allocated?
We'll know that in a couple of months.
Shortly, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And is the ready going to cover both Tell City and
Yes.
Perry counties?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
That covers our 20% match for that work.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Randy?
The answer's mine.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second, and I also vote yea, so motion made, second, carried 3-0 to amend the preliminary engineering agreement with Block Miller for Phase 2 of River Road.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks.
Okay, next on the agenda, Steve Howe. We have a couple of additions,
Additionals and a transfer. Here's all three of them.
transfers, or, okay.
Steve, let me hit that microphone over there before you start, if you don't mind. I think we're picking you up on the other one. Second line.
All right, I have two additional appropriations. One is for, to get the money in place for the community crossings where we can pay our share of that, $120,000. This is money that, we already got the money, we just need to appropriate before we were able to pay for it, or to spend the money. Also have an appropriation out of Cume Bridge. You know, a few years ago we had, when they come up with this annual inspection, we had 12 bridges that went on that. Right now we're down to 3 bridges, the one on 21st out here at their building now that should be done next week. That only leaves two, and one was needed a deck, and one needed a column with the steel posts going into the water were corroding. So I would like to go ahead and take care of those, both of those this year. Also, we're starting a new contract, 4-year contract with them next year, and I'd like to go ahead and, this will get everything off of our annual inspection. I've got,
So Steve, do you have the money to do that
yeah,
already?
yeah. Yeah, this bridge out here, they didn't replace the pilings, they were in good shape. All we did was replace the beams and the deck. So we really only spent about half of what a normal bridge would cost us.
Okay.
So the money left over from that, I thought, why not go ahead and get these off this annual inspection, well, before we start our new inspection cycle.
That way you're gonna pass whenever they come through the inspection, and you won't be
Yeah.
having that outlier there. That's,
Yeah, and it
makes sense.
should save us some money on our inspections also, to go ahead and get those off of there.
You say the new one starts next year?
Yes, we're working on it right now to get everything done on it.
No, that's every 4 years, you said, right?
Yep. They inspect every 2 years. Normally, it's a 4-year contract, and they inspect every 2 years.
Except when there's an issue with the bridge and it's on
Then it's
the
an annual, yeah, if they find a problem with it, then they do them every year.
So it gets all the bridges off of annual inspection.
Everything will be off of our annual inspection, yes.
And just be inspected every 2 years. That
Yeah.
should save.
Should save some money. Of course, there's a chance that if they find something wrong somewhere, they could put more on the annual inspection, but hopefully
We're in pretty good shape on bridges. Like you said, how
Yeah,
many did we start on annual?
we had 12 to start with.
Yeah, and now we're down to none by the end of the year if
Yeah.
this plan goes through.
Yes,
That's a good,
yeah.
yeah, and we have the money through Cume Bridge, and it has to be spent on bridges anyway.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
It has to be spent on bridges, so.
Yeah, can't be there, can't spend anywhere else, so.
The one over there on Copper Road, it needed a deck replaced. We're gonna use those steel decking to replace that. That'll increase the load limit on the bridge also, getting rid of concrete, and going to steel deck.
Nobody has, can we do these all at once?
Mhm.
Just transfer and hope? Okay. I make a motion to transfer and let him fix the bridges and hold.
Do all that, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how I make a motion like that, but that's my intent.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second, and also vote yea. 3-0 for the 2 additionals and the 1 transfer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Next thing, Prairie Central has contacted started out with Alan Malone with they're wanting to pick up students back here off of the detention center property. Tara, you want to explain?
Sure.
What your intentions are and why, and what you're asking for?
Sure. So, you're aware, I'm sure, that we've had buses that have used the Ponderosa parking lot for the last several years to pick up students, and that property has been purchased. So we also are looking at the same time as we find new locations to make those locations more safe. So rather than have all 3 buses in one location, there will be 3 separate pickup points. So what we're asking is if one of those buses could use this road in front of the detention center. And I met with Derek Llewellyn and Alan both, and we talked about many different possibilities, and that one seemed to be one that would be safe and pretty easily accessible for people. So the idea would be that the bus would travel down, I think that's Herman Street, and then enter into the parking lot of the detention center and turn around and then pull up right at that little stop sign next. So if you're facing the detention center, there's a little stop sign on this side, and park, and then the people would park along the street, and then the children would load and unload at that juncture. So we've looked at it from a safety standpoint, from a logistics standpoint, and it seems feasible. So just, and then I think that we would need an agreement that our liability insurance would cover that, and we would put that in writing with the county.
And I mentioned, I've already contacted Chris Goffman about it, and he was out of town the next day or so, but he's gonna get that ASAP to
Yep.
us.
That's great. And I've made contact with our liability insurance, and it's all possible through them as well.
I guess the only thing we're really asking here at the commissioners meeting, since the bus is backing in on county property.
Right.
Because it is a city street, so
Mhm.
we don't have any control over that.
Right.
So that's really the only issue right now, is to let the,
Was a bus sit.
Was a
So
bus
does the
set.
city maintain that street?
Mhm. It's their.
So it's their street, so it's their call,
Yes. So, for the street.
just the street. So all we're doing is providing a location
For the bus.
For the bus.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really all we're
And
discussing.
my thinking is, I'm thinking that's probably 2 lanes wide, correct?
Mhm.
Back there, I know it's limited traffic. But Tell City has streets that are 80 feet wide. You know, would that be a better alternative? But I mean, it's really not our call, other than just parking the bus there. I mean, that's,
Right.
if it's a city street.
Yeah, and when it was discussed, you know, whose liability, well, and I talked to Steve Howell, and it's not on our inventory. Herman Street is not on our inventory, and it is in the city limits, so.
What time of the day would that be?
7, it avoids your time of arrival and departure. So it would be about 7:20 a.m., about when they would depart here. And then they get back here around 3:20, 3:15 or 3:20, so they would be gone by the time you guys, or before you guys were leaving.
And the employees of the court is probably the most traffic on that road.
Yeah.
I mean, because it don't go through it's not a shortcut to anything, and so.
And then you have your nighttime after-school programs, would they
That,
access
there's
that?
one evening route, and we're not going to ask to use this on that evening route. I think we're going to use the Bettinger Park area.
So this is a one bus only, so
It's
you're
one bus.
anticipating
Mhm.
50 students?
Right. Mhm.
Something like that, so.
Something like that. Mhm. Yeah.
The only thing is where are you gonna park 50 cars?
Well, there wouldn't be 50 cars because there's multiple kids in a
Okay,
family,
20,
but maybe
25 then.
25 or 30.
Yeah.
Mhm. So we were thinking that they would line up along that street, and basically they're dropping off and the kid goes to the bus and they pull out this way.
I don't know if we have a say on the street. I mean, that's the
And
problem.
it was okay with Derek, I think. wasn't it?
We'd
Yeah.
spoken with Derek
Yeah,
about
Derek
it.
approved it, so.
I think if you get involved, I mean, I think that there's enough relationship here. If it creates a problem, we'll
Absolutely.
sit down and have this discussion and say this is.
If it doesn't work,
Yeah.
we'll go back to the drawing board. We're just trying to come up with something that's feasible and safe, and so this was.
Just trying to envision how this will all come about. It may come smoothly, generally it doesn't, but you know, there's some things can be tweaked
Absolutely.
to make it work.
We discussed that when I met last week down there, you know, we might put it in place now, and might have to tweak it a little bit, the way they park, the way they.
Depending on how,
How
yeah,
it
just to
works, so.
address some issues that
You just can't always
considering
anticipate
today.
everything, absolutely. Mhm.
And what we want to do is work with the county, work with Prairie Central, and,
Well, you want to make it safe too.
Yeah, exactly.
For both the kids and then people exiting. The nice thing about that road is they can go out Dobie's Lane
Mhm.
and head into town. Instead of, right now, everything gets dumped onto the highway, and at times, it's a little scary when it's running 45, 50 mile an hour and people are coming in and out of there.
I actually think this will be better in the long run.
It'll give a little
Yeah.
buffer,
Yeah.
right, because there's two ways out. You can go out down Dobie Lane or,
And just having one bus instead of 3 in one
Yeah.
location is a
Yeah.
Less
pretty big
volume.
improvement as well.
Eat
Yeah.
2 ways out.
Any other questions for me?
No, I don't have any.
I don't.
I'll make a motion to let Prairie Central use the detention parking lot to park a bus twice a day, morning and afternoon.
Pending legal.
yeah. Chris, I have something drawn up, and
Yeah.
I just called him, and he had, well, before the meeting, he hadn't returned, and I just checked the email before the meeting, he hadn't sent us anything yet, so.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and second, and I shall vote aye, so motion made, second, carried 3-0. All right, next thing on the agenda is Pam Goffert.
Okay, let me find my stuff. First off is I have payroll that was distributed to the county employees on July 18 for $166,439.22.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second. Vote aye. Motion made, second, carried 3-0.
Next is the insurance benefits like we do every month. This is what insurances we have paid out as far as with the county employees for $63,826.65.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and second. Also vote aye. Motion made, second, carried 3-0.
Okay, and I do not have these printed out on regular paper yet, but I mailed you the minutes from April the 4th and April the 19th for your approval, and then I will get them printed out and have them at your next meeting signed.
I didn't see any issues with it.
I did not do this, so I'll make a motion to.
Now, Pam, I know I didn't realize there was two there. I read one and Greg was here. Was I here on the 19th? I don't think I was. So if that's the case, I'm going to.
Oh, yeah, there
Yes,
was.
you were here on the 19th.
Then I've got to read that.
Nope, I'm sorry, you
No.
weren't. It was Greg.
I don't believe it was at either one.
Yep, nope, you weren't.
So I'm just going to abstain because,
Okay.
Okay. Well, motion made and.
Tom, you
Ran-
second it then?
And I'll second it. Randy will, so it passed 2-0 with one abstention.
Just remember the next meeting, we don't sign them, Randy.
All right.
remind me. That'll be your job.
Okay, next on the agenda is the awarding of the bids for the road projects. Did Chris get to review them?
I think Chris
Yes.
and Steve both did, yes.
Yes, he said they were good.
So they're legal and they're follow all the bid requirements? Okay. All right. Any discussion on that?
I am assuming everything's going to the low bidder, CRS or CR, whatever. Croydon,
CNR
whatever.
Construction?
Yeah, do you want to make the motion to reflect that then, Randy?
Sure.
Okay. So your motion is to accept the bid, the low bids from
My
CNR?
motion is to accept the low bids from CNR Construction.
CNR, on all the bids?
Of all the bids. They were the lowest on all of them.
Mhm.
Okay,
And they're in order, according to Chris.
Mhm.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made and second. Also vote aye. Carried 3-0.
There's a Form 96 in each one of those that has to be signed today. Send it back to me on the second page of Form 96.
By all three commissioners?
On all, in every one of these?
And the two bid packages from CNR.
Oh, from CNR, okay. Oh, good. We'll find those.
Okay, we'll take care of that after the
And
meeting.
Steve, do they have a timeline where they're going to start?
They told, well, that I have to send this back to them, and they have to send us, they send me a contract,
Right.
and then they'll send notice to proceed, so I can't tell CNR anything. I talked to them the other day and told them, assumed they would get because they were the low bid.
Right.
They called me, and he said that if I get that notice to proceed back from NDOT, I'll notify them, and he said that they thought they could get it done in August.
Oh, great.
Now, if we get, that's if we all.
We get all the paperwork done.
Yes,
Good, good. They'll get on it then.
They do a good job.
they do a real good job, yes.
All right. Next on the agenda is appointment of the airport authority.
Right, you have one appointment to the Airport Authority, and it was Mark Schaefer's position. And just a reminder, this is a four-person board. No more than two can be from the same political party. Mr. Schaefer is from the Democrat Party, and there were no other letters of interest other than Mr. Schaefer asking for reappointment for another 4-year term. The term expires June 30th. So it would be a 4-year term through 2026.
Questions, discussion?
No. I'll make a motion to put Mark back on there.
Second.
Motion made in second. I vote aye. Motion carried 3-0. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the salary recommendations to the county council. And this is a recommendation from the commissioners for our budget, not the entire county.
No, it's for the entire
The
county.
entire county?
Yeah, it's what you're recommending to the council that you would like to see the county employees receive.
The county employees,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's only a recommendation because the council still can do what they
One
can
way
through
or
the
another.
budget. Right. They still have to work within their budget to what they can do.
Yeah, and I haven't got any indication from the council if they're gonna be able to afford a 3, 5, 20%.
They have no idea. Because I have no idea.
We have in the past recommended a standard 3%, but, entertain a motion to any,
I would like to,
Last year you did a 4. Normally you've done a 3. Last year you did a 4.
And one year we left it up to the council. We put a 0 in.
Yes, yes, you've done
Right.
that.
but if we put a 0 in and they decide on it, then they have to find the money in the general fund.
No, not really, because all departments already put in a raise in their salaries.
Oh, okay.
Anywhere from a 3 to 5%.
That's
So
what just
already-
affects our budget, because,
It's right, it's for what generally Teresa puts in for yours, but generally all departments put in a 3 to a 5 to a 10% increase, not knowing what could be allowed and what can't. So the money's already pretty well built in there. You guys are
in
just giving a
everybody's
recommendation
budget,
only.
but everybody's budget except.
Right, it's not like the
commissioner's
council
budget.
has to find the money because it's already built in there above.
Right.
And then they're.
Unless we reduce it in our budget, well, for our employees, the commissioners,
Yes, yes,
which is just a few.
yes.
Mhm. Is that clear?
It's just a standard
I'd
procedure.
recommend at least a 5 because of the cost of living and inflation, at least.
Yeah, then if there's not money there, the council can reduce that.
Yeah. We probably should go a little more, maybe.
It'd be nice if we could afford a 5.
The council's in the process of doing somewhat of a study, and I'm assuming that's never been completed.
Not yet.
That's something that, at some point, we're gonna have to look at that to see exactly how our whole structure's set up on payments and what we're paying people for the work they're doing and that. And so, I'm not sure whether we're grossly underpaying, overpaying certain positions, and that study should reflect that. And then, that's something we'll have to look at to address, to see how we can get ourselves back in line with the market, on all these positions and what we're actually asking them to do. But that should be forthcoming. That's really outside of this.
Yeah, this here is just a standard procedure that
Yeah.
I thought that, I actually have tried to find out with the state that this is something that we could bypass because it's just,
Yeah, it's kind of.
right, it's
All
just,
through the
you guys are
motions.
doing it, but no, it is written into the statute, so you guys have to make a recommendation, then we have to type it up, give it to the council, and then the council still decides what they need to do or what they can do.
So at the end of the day, it's,
Kind of
the
irrelevant
council.
what we're doing, but,
Right.
But it's
did
just
you
a
make a
standard
motion, Randy,
procedure.
at 5%?
Yeah.
I'll
that's my
second,
motion.
I'll second that.
okay, motion made.
And what we try to do also for the employees, we try to hold the health insurance, and we hadn't had a raise for years on that, so. I'm
That's been
hoping the commissioners
difficult.
can do the same thing again this year. I know I'll do my part to do that, so.
Mhm.
So that helps the employees also. I don't like to give them a percentage up and take two off on the insurance,
That's
so.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, motion made second. I'll vote aye.
Okay.
3-0.
That's 5, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not uncommon for people in the private sector to get a raise, and it'll be met by the increase in
Health
All your
insurance.
health insurance.
Benefits, yeah.
It's not even just health, because the dental and the vision also go up, and
Mhm.
all of them generally.
We don't really have any control over that, but
No.
regular health insurance we do, so.
Yeah.
Okay, under miscellaneous, I have one thing that I really hate to mention, but we have to, is we have gotten resignation from Teresa as our county administrator. She is, your last day is the
29th.
29th. She has done a fantastic job. She is taking something she feels is best for her and her family. And when she first told me, she threatened me not to try to talk her out of it, and I knew better, so.
I tried.
Huh?
I tried.
You tried. Yeah.
Still staying a county employee, so.
Yeah, so, like I said, she'll be missed greatly, and talking about replacing her, I don't think there is any replacing her, in my opinion. But if the commissioners want to agree, I think we need to pursue filling her position. We can do that by starting to take applications, but on the 28th of this month, we will have to get approval of the council to fill a position, but we can take applications with the contingency that the council will approve filling the position. So we can't do that. So we'll probably need to make that motion.
I hate to, but I will make that motion.
Seconded.
Okay, motion made and second.
One thing I want to say about Teresa, I've worked with her almost 10 years, and she's actually made our job. I wouldn't say easy, but yes, I would. She took care of a lot of things for the commissioners that we didn't have to. She let us know when we needed to know something and worked with us. And if you had to design an employee in that position back there, Teresa was it. I mean, she took it to heart. She stayed after with all the committees that we went through in the last couple of years. She put a lot of time in here, which all employees does. I am not saying that, but she is our employee, and she's going to be missed. I mean, and like Tom said, I don't know if she can be replaced to the extent what she knows and what she does, but time will put somebody in that position, and somebody will fill it. But Teresa, thank you, not only as an employee, but truly as a friend.
Thank you.
You're a special person. Thank you very much.
Ditto.
And I haven't been around her anywhere 10 years. The little bit I was around her, very organized. You need a question, she does it. You need somebody to step up, she's the first one in line. Just like the phone issue, she just steps up and takes over those things. It's not in her job description, and she doesn't have to do it. But she takes the best interest of not only the commissioners, but the county. When she takes these steps, and she's going to be missed. There's no question about it. And I too tried to talk her out of it, but she wouldn't do it. So now, one other thing we need to consider is, because Teresa filters a lot of emails and things that's ongoing. In this interim period of time when she leaves, we need someone either monitoring that, or someone so that things don't fall between the cracks, how we're going to address that. I know she's working with the phone issue right now, and she'll be getting the correspondence back and forth on that. Suggestions on how we're going to address that?
The county administrator email will remain.
But somebody needs
You
to
know,
monitor.
it's attached to my profile.
Right.
But the county administrator email will still be accessible. All the folders and all the emails that are in there will stay.
But we need somebody checking it.
It's, you know,
to make sure
anyone
that-
can have access to it that wants access to it, to look at it. Somewhere along the line, my name will have to be taken off the profile.
Right.
And then another person put in it. But,
Well, as far as access, I believe that the three commissioners and the auditor's office should have access to
yeah.
it.
And
When
I
you
think
agree,
that's
Pam?
something that
Yeah.
needs to be discussed. That's something we'll have to work through.
But I'm, in my position, which I know probably should follow me, but if we can work together, that maybe even you three can try to help, because honestly, I do have enough on my plate. And
Just another burden. It's, the main thing is so that somebody unknowingly that emails Teresa, not understanding she's left that position, so that we actually get the information rather than it lays there. and
Right.
No action's taken, and then it,
And I can even, nothing else, I can try to do that and maybe push it out to you guys and say, hey, what can we do? Where do we need to go?
That might be the best.
whatever's
try
the
to-
simplest
I can at
way,
least try to keep
Pam.
up
I
on
mean,
that.
we don't need to create additional
Yeah, it's just,
overburden
with
work
my
for you.
office and all the stuff we've got, I've got quite a bit. I know it's gonna be, you know, I know I'm gonna help out in between too with the interim coming in and stuff, but, you know, right now with budgets and, with everything, training my office yet and going, but I can at least try to keep up with her emails, kinda see where she's at now on some of them this coming week. And if nothing else, try to keep pushing it out to you guys and then seeing, hey, what can you guys do, or where can we go until we get somebody in there that can kind of take care of it, so.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have the transition phase.
Yeah.
Teresa's promised not to change her phone number. So,
I for one know where she lives.
because there's gonna be a bunch of questions, there's no question about it.
But she's preparing a lot of that with
Yes.
notes and,
Yeah.
I
She
mean,
has.
she showed it to me last week, last Friday. She actually gave me the information. I had to hold it all weekend. Wasn't too good a weekend, but anyway, but she's doing a really good job with preparing the next person for this job.
She's-
And that, you know, anyone else could have just walked out the door.
Right.
And that speaks a lot about her character.
She's prepared a detailed packet for all three of us.
Oh,
Mhm,
that's even better.
so, Okay, well, then we will go ahead and post the job with the note on it that we still have to get council approval to fill it. Is that kosher?
That's, yeah, we can make that notation. We can go ahead and post it.
That way we can get the posting out sooner, and at least the applications can start coming in, so we're not delayed another 2 weeks behind.
Yeah.
Since the
Right.
council don't meet till the 28th,
Right, or call special council
or call a
meeting.
special meeting, right?
Mhm.
I'll get this up on the website, and we can reach out, pick Perry or something like that to put
Okay.
that out there.
Yeah, and I'll work with her this week to see what odds and ends we need to finish up, so.
I want to make one other comment. One of the commissioners that hired Teresa is in this room today. Bill,
Oh, he is here.
thank you for hiring Teresa.
Well, I had to, she threatened me. Well, I've known Teresa for a very long time. I always said it's the best thing I ever did for the county.
No, you did good, Bill.
Yeah.
I did one thing good.
The one thing good, nothing else, you did that right.
She's made my job a lot easier too.
It's all about working together, and Teresa was ready to help anybody, so. Good.
All right, next, Charlie, you want?
Started out with two things, but there's a third one. I just want to thank the commissioners, because I know in the past, the council and the commissioners have not taken raises, so expect that again for next year.
Oh, yeah, are you guys,
We haven't finalized our budget, but
Right.
that was my suggestion
okay, because that wasn't in your motion. Are you guys,
that, I thought we did that when we finalized our budget.
I think last year we volunteered them during budget time that they weren't going to get anything.
last year when you did the salary recommendations, I think you did it except for you guys.
Oh, okay.
So that, because
Yeah, I
we
knew
have
we
to
were
make,
taking
we
that.
have to make a sheet, because this is the time when you would, unless you guys, I mean, we can put you guys down for 5% if that's what you want.
I mean, I'm not gonna ask for it.
No, can I change, can we just make a new
You wanna
motion?
just
Can I
kinda
go back
amend
and
it?
Rescind that motion.
Yeah, are we going, I can amend
5%
it.
and council and commissioners.
Except
Zero.
for council and commissioners.
Okay.
Okay, that sound good to you, Randy?
Yeah, that's fine. I second that.
Okay, and then I'll
Okay.
vote yea also, so it's motion, well, I don't think we actually,
I just amend, I'm going to do it as an amendment to it.
right, I don't think we actually passed, I think the conversation changed and we didn't.
I think we did it
No,
either
you
both
did.
ways, Tom.
You did it.
In the past, so.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, I have a question, and then I'll have a proposal after I find out about the question. As you know, I'm on the ARP committee, and from the very beginning, when it was set up, we had 2 council, 2 commissioners, and 3 residents of the county. This past year, we've had some changes. Mr. Thomas resigned, the county council appointed Mr. Cole to the ARP committee. Few months later, Mr. Cole resigned as a council person, which forfeited his position on the ARP committee. I've looked back at the minutes and some of the other meetings, and my question to you is Mr. Cole a member of the ARP committee by the commissioners?
I don't think we ever approved that.
I don't remember that either.
Well, the issue is if Mr. Cole's not a member, he's also our chairman. So if he's not recognized as a commissioner appointment, apparently he does not have a position on the ARP committee.
True.
Well,
Unless the commissioners want to change that.
You got 5 members right now, right?
We have 5 members because we would have 1 council, 1 commissioner, and 3 residents. And my motion, since your answer is that the commissioners pass, that we keep this 5-member board and not add to it, because every time we add to it, it just drags our feet. And we're ready to go. We've got people calling, wanting to know about the money. We've got Baker Tilly in line now. We've got questions for them to get answered. And these 5 members that are still there are original members.
Can you, you're just one person as a committee, can you think you can get this committee completed by the end of the year? All the duties?
That's what we're trying to do. That's our goal.
we got the big chunk.
Yes.
We got we spent all the time and yeah, we got the big chunk done, and the commissioners have already approved the plan according to the recommendation of the committee, so.
You know my thoughts from the beginning, Charlie. That's the reason I pulled my name from the committee. I didn't think we needed 3 commissioners on there. I didn't think you needed 2 commissioners on there. 1 commissioner, because if you got 2 commissioners on there, the vote's already decided if we had any vote to make in the meeting, because they've done approved it.
Correct.
At the committee level. So I still think 1 commissioner is probably all we need on there to finish this out. And 1 council member. And that's up to you guys on the council. But I think the work has been done, and they did some good work. A little bit delayed, I think.
I do too.
Because you see some other counties didn't go through this process and already got the money out.
Well, in our defense, we were trying to follow the guidelines that the Fed set down.
Mm-hmm.
They kept changing their rules, we didn't, and I think that caused a lot of problems.
And
So-
some of the other counties just took a chance,
Right.
and it worked out for them. So.
Exactly.
So I agree with what you try to do everything exactly right by the book, and that's a good thing. So,
Right, and try to do it by the book and ethically too, that we want the money to go where it was needed in the community rather than just, they give it a lot of thought. I don't hesitate to say just do it haphazardly, because I don't want to accuse any other county of doing that. That's not what I mean. But we gave it a lot of effort. I mean, both the commissioners and the council, all of, and then by including other well-respected opinions from the community, and so, but I have to agree with Randy too. We have done, most of the work is done. I mean, and through all that hard work, so we'll move on.
Exactly.
And I'm not undermining any work you did, Randy. So, I mean,
Well, I think that if you're going to bring this up under a miscellaneous without any kind of public acknowledgement seems a little less disingenuous, let's say that's the word. But if you chose to remove me from it, that's your choice as the commissioners.
I don't think they're removing you. I think they just haven't appointed you.
adding.
And when you resigned as councilman, you gave up your position.
I think that originally it was set up as a 7-member board. Now you're altering the committee to a 5-member board.
Because we keep losing political people, councilmen and commissioners.
Well-
And every time we add someone else, we drag our feet. And I'm getting phone calls, other members of the board are getting phone calls about, when are we going to do something? We've drug our feet long enough. I want to go forward.
And everyone wants to go forward, but at the same time, with the allegations of potential mishandling of the money and lawsuits, we chose to follow the path of making sure the county's safe and doesn't become a recipient of a lawsuit, potential misuse of the funds where the money has to be put back into the federal government's pocket. We chose to follow that path through Baker Tilly. There's requirements through this here. We have to go through the approval process, and government takes time. To put both the county and/or the recipients at risk for a delay, which nobody wanted the delay, nobody anticipated this type of a delay, but to do that is just something that I feel in myself, and I don't know whether the rest of the committee does, feels that it's kind of reckless to put that situation on potentially the county.
Well, I think with Baker Tilly now on
And
board,
Baker
that
Tilly
we'll
will
be able to
be-
answer the questions that we
They will be
have.
as of after the council meeting. So at that point, then whatever we choose to go forward would be ran through them. But it's up to these guys, what their choice is. But
I still say a 5-member board. Finish it up, because all the work's been done except for getting the money out, so.
I don't think you've still got 1.8 or better $1 million that's looking at infrastructure, and that hasn't been touched yet. And we have never actually opened it up to government entities because we kept it into 3 categories: nonprofit, for-profit, and mental health. And there was restrictions put on it by the group and how the awards were going to be handed out. Now, we're going into another phase, but there's money, and it hasn't been allocated.
Well, I mean, you still have to say it's commissioner, because we will have to, our policy, I mean, the
standard
Plan.
that you guys have done, yes.
right?
We have to approve it before it's into the
Right,
council.
it's still gonna go, even though that's, we took it as
The board will
government laws, you guys are
bring
still
in any
doing-
recommendations to the commissioners first.
Right, and then goes to the council.
Like I said, I mean, we've had trouble getting a quorum by
Mhm.
7, and hopefully we can have a quorum by a quorum of 3. That's another thing. So,
I'd leave it up to you all.
I mean, and if it's up to the council, if they want to add them, then that's their prerogative.
Then you end up with 6, and you can have
And I don't like
all
the even numbers cause problems also, so.
I don't like it either, but I mean.
I will recommend, I will speak at the next council meeting to follow your all's guidelines, if you choose to do a 5.
Make the motion.
I'll make a motion to keep it down to 5, and in that motion, try to get it done by the end of the year, so.
Okay. No, I'll second that. Randy?
I'm going to oppose that.
Okay. Motion made and second. Carried 2-1.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else miscellaneous, public comments? Next meeting?
Your next meeting will be Monday, August 1st at 6 p.m. here at the courthouse.
Thanks, everyone. So you got stuff for us to sign on the bids?
Well, we gotta find it.
Okay.
He said it's Form 96. I'm not sure if it takes